Hey, Karen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Okay. So all right, good. Sophie, are you able to hear me? Sophie's been having some team audio issues, so I'm hoping
Okay.
she's
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
hi.
Oh, good. I joined with the phone.
Okay.
I told her to call me. I don't know what I did with my microphone. Somehow I've disconnected my microphone on my laptop, and I cannot figure how to reconnect. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I'd like to come into the office and figure it out, but at least this is a solution for now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a Toastmasters meeting yesterday, and I used my work laptop, but we have a separate microphone we tried to use, and so you have to turn off the competing microphones. And so I think I must have done something more extreme when I did that instead of just.
Yeah.
So if you had asked me some questions, this is a hearing. We do not respond and we do not provide any additional information short of whatever is already in the script that's already been submitted to the state secretary for the thing. So we do not address anything.
We're going to do before, you're not going to read that or.
No, I can't read anything. The only thing that I can indicate is the background and then what the purpose of the rule is and what it does, which is basically the reporting manufacturers will be assessed a category and what those categories are. Short of that, we are here just to listen. Anything else will need to be written in a public format and submitted by the end of July 2nd.
Okay, and if management ends up changing their mind or something ends up changing about it, then
we have to start the process all over again. So management can't change their mind. This is unless somebody says something that is extremely.
So they would have had to already before this date if they wanted
because
to
everything's submitted to the state. The state understands that this is going to be the process going forward. Unless there's something within, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, but the process is if there's something substantial that's found in the hearing, we can go back and reevaluate the need of the rule. But if it's just to air grievances or they're concerned about process, or there's a difference between a process being associated with kind of the policy structure versus it being in the rule. And so that was kind of like some of the stuff that Pharma has indicated in their letter. That is a process. Like putting the information on the website prior to, and they want 30 days, but it's not going to, or 60 days, it's not going to be 60 days, it's going to be 30. So anyways, I see people starting to join.
Okay. But anyway, so we're not supposed to answer any questions about the 30 days or anything else.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Well, I guess I will just mute myself so I don't say anything and just watch.
Yeah, and I will be introducing both of you.
I guess I don't really need to be here, but listen in anyway.
And Karen, real quick before I get going, is there anything else that you're going to need from me short of just leading out and you're going to record everything? And I can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, there we go.
There you
Yes,
go.
I will record it as I do with all the other hearings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it a couple more minutes since people
Yeah,
need to
probably
still be joining.
2 minutes after.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3 minutes after. Shelby.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Shelley.
Hi, guys. Hey,
Hi.
my camera is every time I turn it on, everything's freezing up. So I don't expect to actually, I'm just going to listen in most likely, but just FYI, I'm,
Yep, that's fine. I don't think I need you on camera, but appreciate you being here.
yeah, of course. Yeah, the new Teams has not worked well for me. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it's just been a struggle.
Yeah. I know we're at the top of the hour. We're going to give it a couple more minutes to let people come in. I just want to ask anybody that is not on mute, if you can mute yourselves until we're ready to do introductions. We'll give it about one more minute and then we can get started. All right. Good morning. Let's get started. So I'm Courtney Whitlock. I am the Program and Policy Analyst for the Prescription Drug Affordability Board and the hearing officer for today's hearing regarding the drug manufacturer's annual fee assessment rule. Also in attendance with me is Karen Winkle. She's the division rule coordinator who will be recording today's hearing. And I also have Sophia Para on the call, and she's the program coordinator for the drug price transparency program.
Hey, Courtney, can you hold on for a second? I just want to make sure the recording is working.
I see it recording.
You do? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on my side. Okay.
Yep, we're good to go. Thank you. So again, if you joined after the first announcement, if you come on, please just mute yourself if you're not speaking, just to so we don't get additional background noise. But today is June 25th, 2024, and the time is 11:03 a.m. Pacific time. This public hearing is being conducted in a hybrid format through Microsoft Teams and also at the Labor and Industry Building and Conference Room E, which is located in Salem, Oregon. And we will begin the hearing with introductions of who is here for the public hearing. So if you plan to conduct testimony, please make sure you introduce yourself. So is there anyone on the call that would like to introduce themselves? I see a Joe Gardner.
Yes, hello, Joseph Gardner here on behalf of Pharma.
Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate you being here. Brett.
Good morning, Brett Michelin with the Association for Accessible Medicines. We represent the generic and biosimilar manufacturers.
Great, thanks Brett for being here. Okay. And Karen, am I supposed to read off everybody on the list, or is that part of the recording? And you're on mute again.
Sorry, I would. Let's just go ahead and go down the list.
Okay, thank you. We have calling in Alexander Pratt. Brett has introduced himself. We have Gail DeToro, Courtney Free, Jacob Gill, Shelley Gardner, AJ Zalato. Joe has introduced himself. Tristan Matebo, Stephen Koyman, Lisa Kelman, Sophie Para, Pamela Reddy, Soa Ching, Kristen Vigaletti, and then Karen, you are on here. Got it?
Yes.
Thanks. All right, so at this time, and place to set for the public hearing is to receive testimony on annual fees to be paid by manufacturers of prescription drugs that are sold in Oregon. And the fees are calculated to cover the expenses incurred by the Division of Financial Regulations, which is also called DFR, for administrating the Drug Price Transparency Program and the Prescription Drug Affordability Program under ORS 646A.680 to 646A.697. So the notice for today's hearing was published in the June 1st Oregon Bulletin. A copy of the notice of hearing, together with the notice of proposed rulemaking and statement of need and fiscal impact, is contained in the master file and is part of the record. This hearing will be conducted in accordance with the Oregon Administration Procedures Act, Oregon Revised Statute, Chapter 183, and the Attorney General's Model Rule of Procedures. Written comment will be accepted until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, July 2nd, 2024, and no other comments or exhibits will be accepted after that date and time. So anybody who wishes to testify at today's hearing should state their name and affiliation, if any. And the division at this time does not respond to comments or questions during the hearing. After the close of the public hearing comment period, I will prepare a report for the review by the division administrator as part of the formal rulemaking procedures. So at this time, if you join the meeting after I start speaking, please identify yourself so that we can include you in any part of the attendance. And I don't think anybody's joined. So before we take testimony, I just wanted to provide a little bit of background and the intention of the rule. So the Prescription Drug Affordability Board, also known as PDAB, was created in the Department of Consumer and Business Services, also known as DCBS, by Senate Bill 844 in 2021. Its primary objective is to safeguard Oregon consumers and other entities from high cost of prescription drugs. The law grants the PDAB the power to adopt administrative rules necessary for functioning of the board. In addition, Senate Bill 192, established in 2023, amended ORS 646A.695 and requires DCBS to adopt by rule, in consultation with the PDAB and the Drug Price Transparency Program, annual fees to be paid by manufacturers of prescription drugs that are sold in Oregon. And Charlie, since we've started and you're a little bit late, will you please introduce yourself for the record, and then I will continue on the rest of my conversation or my statement.
Yeah, of course. Sorry for being a little late. Charlie Fisher with Osberg.
Great, thank you. This continue on with the intention of the rule. The fees are calculated to cover the expenses incurred by DFR for administering the DPT program and the Prescription Drug Affordability Board. The reporting manufacturers shall be subject to the assessment requirements set forth in subsection 1 to subsection 5 under OAR 836-200-0055 for billing periods through July 31st of 2023. For billing periods on or after August 1st of 2023, reporting manufacturers will be subject to the annual fee set forth under the new rule OAR 836-200-0553. So the rule is associated with reporting manufacturers submitting annual fees based on the number of national drug codes or NDC codes from the USA Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, that approved prescription drugs in the manufacturer's portfolio during the annual billing period. The department shall determine the number of NDCs for a manufacturer by referencing the FDA's National Drug Code Directory to calculate the number of unique NDCs for the manufacturers and any known labelers the manufacturer uses. Each reporting manufacturer will be assigned to one of 3 size categories based on the number of NDC packages from the FDA-approved prescription drugs in the manufacturer's portfolio during the annual billing period. And those 3 size categories are large, 40 or more NDCs, medium is 11 to 39 NDCs, and small is 10 or fewer NDCs. So I'd like to take this time, if there's anyone on the call who wishes to provide testimony regarding this rule. If so, please send a copy of your summary of testimony to Karen Winkle. Her email address is listed on the notice of proposed rulemaking. And please raise your hand and I will call on you in accordance to who shows up first. And please provide your name and affiliation. Joe Gardner, I see you. Go ahead.
Hello, Joe Gardner, delivering comments from Pharma. On behalf of the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, we thank the department for allowing us to participate in the RAC and comment on the draft rule. We appreciate the staff analysis provided during the RAC meeting and that a couple of our initial comments have been incorporated in the final proposed rule. We do want to highlight just a few remaining items of concern in the proposed rule. To provide greater transparency with respect to how the proposed fee assessment will be determined in the future, Pharma requests that DCBS commit to annually providing this information via its public website. We also request additional details on the process and data sources for identifying NDCs and how the department will identify which NDCs should be used to appropriately determine the size category of a manufacturer. Greater transparency in this process will help DCBS avoid potentially erroneous size determinations and fee assessments. Pharma continues to request these additional protections in the fee assessment process, including an extended deadline for payment of the new fees and a suspension on accrual of interest in the event of an appeal of an assessment. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Joe. Appreciate your comments. Anybody else interested? Yes, Brett. You can come off.
Sorry
Mute.
about that. I was trying
It's okay.
to find my hand and then trying to find my camera. So thank you, Brett Michelin, again with the Association for Accessible Medicines. We represent generic and biosimilar manufacturers. First off, appreciate all the work that has gone into this. I know a lot of time has been spent over the years trying to determine how to set the fees. As we mentioned during the RAC process, AAM still does not believe that use of NDC data is the best methodology. We don't believe it's a real comprehensive look into drug pricing, as only 20% of NDCs actually show any commercial activity. We believe the fees will be diverted into the use of NDCs will distort the fee structure and how it's being apportioned, and that the data does not actually capture the appropriate entities that are engaged in the PDAB and transparency work. However, we do understand the difficulty in trying to find an equitable and transparent fee structure. AAM, in its effort to try and come up with an alternative or to build upon the work that's been done. We engaged Avalier Health, which is a leading data and analytics research company. And their findings actually do prove out our initial concerns, where generic manufacturers will end up funding the largest proportion of the fee structure as it is. In fact, 70% of the large bucket will be funded, and that's the bulk of the funding does come from the large manufacturers. 70% of those will be identified as generic manufacturers. In the middle bucket, it's about a 50-50 split, and in the small bucket, it's about 45% generic and 55% brand. And so we do believe that's the distortion in the fees. Now, AAM did come with a proposed solution, and from taking from the original legislation or from the directive from the legislators in SB 192, that the consideration of revenue derived within the state be considered in how the fees are structured. We are suggesting that each bucket be assigned a proportional amount to the type of the proportional amount of the revenue to the type of manufacturer. Data shows that generic drugs are approximately 90% of all prescriptions, but only 17.5% of drug spending. We believe each bucket should be assigned based on that split. So the large manufacturers, that 70% that those manufacturers will pay should be borne by 80% of brand and 20% generic, and the same in both the medium and the small. So the 25% in a bucket in the medium, again, 80% brand, 20% generic, and so forth for the small bucket as well. We believe this solution takes into account the original intent from the legislature. We believe it captures the actual revenue consideration, and the focus is on the drug manufacturers who are actually being reviewed by the PDAB. And granted, both generic and brand are in the transparency program, so we're not arguing that brand should foot the whole bill, but it should be done proportional, especially considering the PDAB isn't even looking at generic drugs at this point. We will be submitting a letter with more detail, but happy to answer any, I guess you can't ask any questions, but we will be providing the additional comment, and thank you for your time and for your work on this.
Great, thanks, Brett. Yeah, please submit your information to us by the deadline. Look forward to reviewing that. Appreciate your insight and time help with that. All right, is there anyone else that would like to provide testimony today? All right, well, hearing none, I'm assuming then that nobody else is going to come forward to say, to speak today, but it's still provided the opportunity to submit the written comment. Again, written comment is to be accepted by 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on July 2nd. So with no other comments or exhibits being accepted after that July 2nd deadline. So after the close of the public comment period, again, I will prepare and submit to the administrator for his review a hearing officer report, and that will be available later on after publication. So if there's no other public comments, I will close the hearing at this time at 11:18 a.m. And this concludes the public hearing. Thank you all. I appreciate you all being here.